Hello Israel, it's me, Red Planet, coming to you once again with another video. This is Fair Use W7. Now we all know these earthquakes that we're having is due to a number of things. When they have a volcano eruption or bad weather, people are hearing booms and knocks in the sky from the planet, can cause an earthquake. Well, literally anything can cause an earthquake, but near the San Andreas Fault is where they are having these earthquakes, Israel. And it's only a matter of time. You know, we all know that the big one is coming. Well, it's felt worldwide. So we're going to listen to W7 in a minute speak on these earthquakes that we are constantly having. Only in certain areas are they having multiple earthquakes, like in different states, in different cities, they're having earthquakes. Where we are, we're not feeling it. But I know one day that is going to happen where it's going to be felt worldwide. Like I said, and all of us is going to feel it. It's going to impact everybody at some point. At some point, it's going to affect all of us. Only a matter of time. You know, so let's get into the video and we're going to see what W7 had to say, okay?
An earthquake update is we've got activity in Southern California that has stirred some alarm. Hundreds of quakes hitting in this area in less than 1 day. Now, there's some things to know about this. This is very near the San Andreas fault line system. And if you look at the map, you can see where the swarm is here on the left, in the left image. This is Indio Hills, Palms. And that area is right up here on the right map. So this swarm is coming from right around this broken fault area that connects to...
And you have to keep in mind, the more earthquakes they have, the more aftershocks that they have. And a lot of times they'll have one earthquake and then they'll turn around and then they'll have another one. And then they'll have a bunch of aftershocks right around in this area where W7 is seeing, around this San Andreas Fault here, is where, you know, the earthquakes are constantly increasing, Israel. And it's only a matter of time before it gets worse. I mean, they're going to come back to back and back to back to back, and they're not going to stop, right? We all know this. Those who know. Okay, let's continue.
To the blue line, or blue cut fault system, that is right on the other side of the San Andreas Fault. There is no other fault that runs any closer to the San Andreas fault line than this one over here. And what you see right here on the page, there's a lot of smaller ones that they don't have listed or named, but there is the Indio Hills fault line system that sits right here that connects off the northern branch of the San Andreas Fault. And what you're seeing is the northern and southern faults coming together, and they come together to form the main San Andreas fault line right here in southern Indio Hills. There was a big quake that struck right down here around La Quinta. Not right on a fault line, but on the other side of the San Andreas Fault. So the big quake and the swarms hitting on each side of the major fault. Something to watch, as I've said in the past, when it comes to the Salton Sea down in that area.
And they are going to get stronger and stronger as time goes on. It's going to get to a point where they're going to start happening and not stop, which is going to cause the earth to shift, the titanium plates to break, and then that's when it starts to really takes an effect. And the earthquakes, the more they happen, the stronger that they get, to a point where they're more and more and more and more. And it's going to be a continuous thing, and they're going to continue to have aftershocks, and aftershocks are going to be very powerful, like 10.8 or 9.8. That's strong. That's a big one.
Yeah, whenever it has had record amounts of water weight, it has popped off with a big earthquake. Now, there was around a 4.9 quake that struck out of this. The bigger.
And then you know too, Israel, is that The earthquakes can bring tsunamis, big waves of water that can drown cities, states. It can cause a volcano eruption. One can cause one to be a domino effect to cause others. Disasters and calamities everywhere. All it takes is for really Yellowstone to erupt for that to actually take place or actually happen, Israel. And sooner or later, that is going to take place. And they know it, and they're not going to say anything. They're just going to let it happen. Why? Because then they can go into their bunkers. They go in their bunkers and hide while we are left on this earth trying to deal with the situation. Why they think that they're going to sit in luxury in their bunkers while we get destroyed, but it's not going to happen, Israel. It's going to affect them too, because everything that comes from the sky falls down, right? And it's going to cave them in, and that's going to be their coffin.
I went down here, and people did say that it was startling that it knocked things over in their home, chandeliers were swaying, and that they felt it pretty good. So if you're in the Coachella Valley, if you feel any of this quake activity, let me know. Just wanted to give the heads up here. And a shout out to John for this info as well. I'll leave a link below on this. And
That's how bad it's going to get, Israel.
Monday,
well, they
Friday,
know this.
9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Tabu 77. Much love.